in my opinion, body awareness is a journey and not a destination. My own relationship with my own body has changed in so many different levels and ways over the years, and it continues to, and I'm really excited to see where that ends up being in like 5-10 years and more. But I know it's going to keep on morphing, and I think it does for everybody. There's not some, elusive like arrival period that you're suddenly aware. That's not how that works. So it is a practice, and I think that's really similar to dance and how dance is a practice. I mean, you have to be doing this. There's no destination. You don't just arrive.
Yeah, you never arrive. That's a good point.
And so this like to make that body awareness like a 3D experience. You're moving, and your dancers have this amazing body awareness already. But having this like care experience makes it sort of this whole picture.
What's up, world? Welcome to The Movement, where we discuss all things dance, life, and this profound, powerful dance through life. Whether you're a dancer, a little klutzy, or just a lot of curious, this show is all levels friendly, baby. So lace up and let's go. Oh, that was a little aggressive on that one. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Movement. I am your host, Melvin A.C. Howell, and we're just gonna jump right into this thing here today. So I train a lot. I dance very heavily. I dance every waking moment of every single day. And I got to the point where I was learning new flips, learning new stunts and things like that. And I was drilling these things like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours back to back, no breaks. And then out of nowhere, I was just kind of walking, just kind of like training just a little bit, like light work training. And I was turning to walk, and I felt a sharp pain shoot straight through my knee. And this pain has been with me since that day, which was 2016, 17. And it felt like it was just progressively getting worse. And it's like, dance is what I do. Dance is my life. It's my career. It's the gumbo, the jambalaya in my life. So it's like, what am I going to do if I can't dance? So, of course, I dance anyways. And it just keeps getting worse, and I can't figure out why. And then eventually I came to the conclusion, like, I stopped working out because I was training so much, and I thought that, oh, well, dance is a workout in itself, which it is. And I think that was the wrong move, maybe. I really don't know. I'm not sure. And that's what this episode's about. This episode today is about self-care, taking care of our bodies. We use our bodies so much and so intensively, and sometimes we look over the body care aspects outside of just your typical like quick couple of minute stretch and things like that. So today we have a body working expert. She has a private practice here in Asheville. She is amazing, and in my personal opinion, she is the best massage therapist in all of Western North Carolina. Every time I get work done, I am put into a trance, sent to a whole nother galaxy. Within the first 2 like muscle rubs, KO every single time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome in our expert so she can give us the tea, the sauce, the scoop, the all of it. Jessi Luzius, come on in. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm excited to do this with you.
I'm excited that you're doing this with me. I'm cheesing. If you don't know me and if you don't know her, this is my beautiful partner. My partner in crime, my everything, my world. And I want to say that, and I want to follow that up with everything that is said today is completely unbiased, whether I've been in a relationship, friends, family, or anything, has absolutely nothing to do with my opinions, because I'll be quick to be like, nah, this ain't for you, but you know, if you want to keep pushing out for that, you know. But anyways, how are you, Jessi?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm doing really well. Yeah.
All right, so I gave you the intro and everything, but I want you to tell everybody, who are you? Who is Jessi? Where is Jessi from? Like, give us the tea.
Yeah, so currently, for work and passion, I'm a massage therapist and a body worker, and that's where my main focus is right now. Expanding my private practice, diving deeper into the human body, into anatomy, into movement, kinesiology. I'm just like purely pumped about that right now. Outside of that, I've also developed my own movement practice more and more over the last few years. You've helped me with that. That's actually how we met. And that's been really important to me as well. Yeah, I'm bilingual. I love languages. I love relationship and diving deeper into that, which is another aspect of my work and why it fits me so well. I'm from Michigan.
She's a Michigander, y'all.
Yeah, but you know, I've taken most of it out of me, so don't worry. Yeah, that's my current self.
That's her
right
current
now.
self, y'all. And you know, I like to go on like slight tangents just so you get to know like the people themselves. Like, part of the reason that we bring in different guests is not only so they can talk about their profession and how it relates to dance and movement and athleticism, so on and so forth, but so you can learn about us as individuals, because I think it's very, very important that you get to know the people that you're listening to, that you're hearing, and it makes what they're saying hit a little bit closer to home, and it brings forth a better understanding on multiple levels. And so that being said, so you might have caught it towards the beginning of what she was saying, how we met. So everyone knows that I'm a dancer. I teach dance, choreograph, so on and so forth. And her sister actually bought her dance lessons, and she and I had never met before. And yeah, she like walked into the studio for this lessons, and I was like, I was speechless. I was like, whoa. I was like, who is this beautiful person? Oh my goodness.
I'm blushing.
Her like, she had like this like shy smile, and she has like these beautiful cheeks and her facial structure and her hair and everything. And like, y'all, whenever we were dancing, the rhythm wasn't there, but it was just like the cutest thing. I could not help but like to watch it and just be like, oh my gosh, what are these feelings? What are these feelings?
I'm glad it worked on something.
So that's the short summary of how we met.
The rhym's gotten better though, right?
The rhythm has gotten so much better. Not a little bit, but so much better. Like, she'll just be like vibing now. That rhythm is spot on. I'm here for it.
There's hope.
There's hope. There's hope. So let's jump right into this. So yeah, I've had many injuries, like pulled back muscles or things going on with my knee. You know, I've been like doing physical therapy and stuff for a while, but like I feel like my biggest issue has been that I wait until the damage is done to try to do something about it. And then I get frustrated because it takes so much time to recover, especially with knees. Like, it's the smallest thing that happens to a knee, and it can take forever to really heal back up. And I just, honestly, I have no clue what to do to properly prepare. And I also get like really anxious and excited to get started dancing or doing whatever. So for me to like take 1 to 2 minutes to like stretch or anything, that's hard for me. Because I'm like, I gotta jump into this. Like, so help me. And I know I'm not the only one because I have so many dance friends and dance family who do this too. They don't take care of the body. They don't, we tend to look at body work as a luxury. And so we put that on the back burner and we just kind of like run our bodies into the dirt, and we don't want that. Like, this is what we do. We like being athletic and active and dancing and teaching and whatnot. So we need our bodies to be able to keep up and to last, So help us out, Jessi. Help me out, because hell, I need it.
I would love to.
All right, so what is one thing that we can do as dancers, movers, to prepare our bodies properly before actually jumping straight into that?
Well, you got to take more than 1 or 2 minutes to warm up.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna kill me.
I'm sorry, that's the bad news. But the good news is that can be part of your dance practice. So I don't even recommend stretching first thing. Your muscles need a little bit of time to warm up and get some blood flow going. So starting with like a low impact movement practice, like when we're in dance class together, you usually start the class with like a little copycat session, warm up, something like that that's low impact. You're not doing, huge jumps, flips right from the get-go. Is going to bring a little bit of blood flow to your muscles. It's going to warm you up a little bit. From there, moving into a little light stretching before you start going hard. Can be really helpful, and it doesn't have to take super long. I totally get that. Like when I'm going to the gym, I don't want to take an extra 20 minutes to warm up,
right?
Because I want to be in and out, But a little movement and stretching together is what you want to go for. So you're not just stretching cold muscles or impacting cold muscles.
Okay, that's helpful. All right, so a lot of these questions for your answers, I'm gonna like go back over that answer and ask you to dumb it down for me and for like some of the others who are like really anxious dancers and movers. Not anxious as in like negative anxiety, but anxious as like excitable and like ready to go.
Yeah.
Because and I know this is like user error. This is a personal problem, but like I feel like there has to be some hack to looking at it. So because for me, I look at it more as like a task, and I'm like, dang, like you said, whenever I go to the gym, I'm like, I'm just trying to be in the gym for like 30 minutes. I'm not trying to be here an extra 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes stretching and warming up, because like, no. And then like whenever I'm dancing, especially when I go like to teach at conventions and things, I'm ready to go. Like, now granted, if I get there early, a lot of times I'll get there early and I'll stretch and whatnot. But even like you said, like stretching is not necessarily the first thing you want to do. You don't want to like stretch out cold muscles, right? That's what you said. So could you give me like a short play-by-play? So if it was like, give us how long should it be? Like, what would you recommend our warm-up length be? And then how should we break that warm-up down between like, smaller movements to get the blood flowing, and then stretching, and then
Okay. All right, I think I have an idea.
Okay.
So you're working on a piece of choreo, right?
Uh-huh.
Let's say you want to just dive right into it. You spend 6 minutes, because you want to spend just over 5, probably, just to really get yourself going. 6 minutes going through your choreo slowly, slow it down, you go through it forwards, and then you reverse it backwards. And why I say reverse it backwards is because if you're going, into the exact same movements you're going to be doing in your actual choreography, if you can reverse it, you're going to be doing some of those opposite movements, and you'll be activating some of the stabilizing muscles that you'll be using in your choreography.
Oh, shoot. All right, so let's stop there.
I just came up with that.
We just got a hack. We just got a hack, y'all. And this is like, I've never thought about doing it this way, but not only is this a body hack to warm up the muscles and activate those stabilizing muscles and whatnot, but this is going to help us with memorizing our choreography. This is going to help us with making sure our choreography is clean. We're going to know the choreography inside and out. I don't know about y'all, but I really don't ever run my choreography backwards, because I'm like, that's like doing a Sudoku puzzle, and I'm like, I don't got time. I'm great going forward. So going through it slowly, forward, and then also going through it slowly backwards, and that will. All right, and then go ahead. So.
Well, I mean, that's just adding some movement to your body, and because you're going slower, it's gonna be at lower impact. And then mixing it in so that you don't have to think that you're just sitting down and doing a stretching session. Mixing in to that choreo some slow stretching moves. So if you're doing some leg work, maybe you stretch it out and kind of get into a little stretching lunge and incorporate that into your movement. Honestly, moving and stretching is the best combination you can do. It's like, there's a lot of different terms for it, but like active release, like ballistic stretching. There's lots of different things that you can dive deeper into if you want to, but in general, like the heart of the concept is that moving and working with like warmed up muscles is going to be safer for stretching and safer for impact than if you just dive right in.
Okay. I think I'm picking up what you're saying. So then, all right, what should be done? Because for me personally, like, okay, I take the time to like warm up, stretch and everything. Should I like do that and then I'm like green light to just like go 110%, or should there still be like a build up going into that? Because there would be times where I will take that, I'll take that 6, 10, sometimes even 15 minutes if I'm really feeling good to like warm up and stretch, and then I'm like, all right, ain't no holding back now. I did my piece. Like, should I be okay as long as I put in like a legitimate warm up / stretch before?
It's not an exact science. I would say you should be okay as long as you're not dealing with any current injuries. But that's something that probably you'd have to read your own body in that moment. Are you feeling warmed up? Are you feeling like your warm up exhausted you? And that's another thing that you have to probably time out. I would assume, depending on how much time you're trying to spend dancing, if you spend too much time warming up, that probably affects your session, right?
Yeah, it depends. Like, sometimes, like, I'll go to these conventions and, like, I'm teaching and dancing, like, hours back to back to back, and then I go back to the room to sleep, wake up, like, 7 in the morning, boom, right back at it all day. And so then my body does have some fatigue by, like, that, like, 3rd and 4th class of going, like, 110%. I forgot what I was even about to mention. I don't know. Don't even have a clue. It'll come to me. We're going to keep pushing along.
Sounds good.
Okay, so warm up and So body awareness, I think that's super key. I'm big on being body aware. Sometimes I'll ignore it depending on the circumstances. Like if there's an opportunity being presented to like teach alongside someone like an internationally known choreography, like I'm going full out. Like I'm a pray that my body holds up, but I'm going, But outside of that, most times I will be aware of my body, and I think this is something that we should all take note of. Is like that's the most is the right word, intuitive. That's the most critical thing, is listening to your body. Your body's gonna let you know if you can keep going or if you can't. Now I know, like I've heard the saying, like, whatever you're feeling, that's just your mind telling your body it's time to quit, but your body has a lot more in you. I say that that's some BS. That's a bologna sandwich, y'all. Because I can't imagine how many times I've been like, oh, I can keep going. And then I end up with a knee injury. I can keep going, and I end up like pulling a muscle in my back or my shoulder or my neck. And then I'm like having to sit out and go see doctors and whatnot. And I just think it's really, really important that we're aware of our bodies and what our bodies are telling us. I feel like we're born and created with these natural senses. Like, of course, it's our body, so we have these natural connections with the different things going on in our body that will let us know, all right, it's time to chill out. It's the same thing that lets animals know it's about to rain or it's about to get cold, so you need to fly south. You know what I'm saying? So be body aware. So warm up properly. No half-tilling warm up. I'm preaching to myself, and be body aware. Be aware of your body. Okay, so let's spend some time on the preventative care, right? Because we have the warm up, we have the things that we do in action, like right before we're about to do our thing. But what can we do that strengthens and prepares our body in the long run before we're matched up against any physical adversities or challenges or anything that's going to put strain on our body or muscles? What can we do? Like, do we just like go get a massage? Or I've been told about rolling out, but I just don't know how to roll out properly. I'm not really in that realm like that. So what would be, give us some major keys with like preventative care.
Yeah, so preventative care can have a lot of different aspects, and probably it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. What works for you is going to be different than the next person. But in general rule of thumb, I think getting body work done by a professional can be really informative, and you'll want to seek out a professional who specializes in what your goal is. So if your goal is injury prevention or injury treatment, seek out a sports massage therapist, a deep tissue specialist, structural integrationist. There's a lot we can get into, but basically do a little bit of research and figure out what your goal is and find a professional that can match your services, because not all massage therapists are the same, and some of them tailor their skills to like very different goals. But I think that getting work done by a professional can be very informative, because as attuned as your body awareness might be, you can't necessarily like see the backside of your body, right? You can't feel your body in its resting position, because anytime you're feeling anything, you're activating, right? You're activating some muscle, you're activating your brain to tell your body what to do to feel. So having that secondhand information can be really helpful. And also having that manual manipulation can be really helpful. And that is like essentially massage. Anything that is done by another person manually on your body is going to be manual manipulation. Mm-hmm. But having that as a regular practice is amazing, right? I mean, your body's able to fully relax. You're able to kind of stretch, lengthen, and release some restrictions in your muscles and your fascia, balance the body out with the help of a professional. And that's amazing. I think that would be great for everybody to have in their routine. Also, I know that doesn't feel accessible to everybody, financially, time-wise. I mean, I totally get that that's not, like, that's the ideal, but it's not practical for everybody to have it super regularly. I do think it's an important piece, whether it's, like I said, a massage therapist, a physical therapist, that you have just somebody else's expertise and opinion helping you out and informing you as well. But that being said, there's so many other things that we can do to care for ourselves for free.
Before you get into that, all right, let me get into all that you just said. So for those of us who are unfamiliar with the different modalities and whatnot of massage therapy and that type of body work, what are we looking for? You know, because there are so many different words and terminology and what types of massage establishments do we look for? Because, you know, we might not be used to it because we look at it as a luxury and not a necessity, so we only do it as like a treat or like an absolute last resort when we have extra money. And we just go somewhere and they just like, oh, that was relaxing, I fell asleep on the table. Like, oh, I feel good, but that's only because we got a little power nap in. It's not because it actually helped heal and recover our body, right? So what are we looking for? Like, are there certain key terms that we'll like search up, or certain types of establishments that are a little more credible than others?
Definitely. I mean, massage is one of those things that has so much variety in it that you can be pretty disappointed if you're looking for one thing and then you end up with this other thing. And like I said, it does depend on what your goal is too. Sometimes, like, this isn't my favorite style of massage, but sometimes when I'm stressed and feeling a lot of anxiety, one of those, like, you know, fluffy, rubby massages is actually very helpful because it's activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is what is like calm, rest. And sometimes that's exactly what I need. Now, if I have a chronic shoulder issue, and when I need some deep tissue work done on it, and I request that, and I get a light, fluffy massage, I'm real disappointed because that doesn't help this injury out. Right. So you do need to be clear with what your goals are. Are you looking for pain relief? Are you looking for like injury recovery? You know, like are you rehabilitating something right now? Are you looking for, you know, like something to just calm you down? So figure out what your goal is. But let's say for the purpose of this podcast, probably we're looking for more like injury prevention, injury care. Deep tissue is a very like overarching term that can have a wide interpretation, but that's a great place to start. So deep tissue, and what that is it means that it is moving your muscle fibers and your fascia and your soft tissues, looking for movement and looking for like change in its quality. So deep tissue. Basic place to start.
Basic place. Foundational. Deep tissue. We don't want none of that like I'm gonna put some lotion, moisturizer, oil on hands, and we don't want none of this soft stuff, man. We use our bodies. Our bodies are our tools. We gotta keep these things in alignment.
But also a lot of people hear deep tissue and they're like, ooh, they're gonna hurt me. And sometimes it does hurt a little bit.
Sometimes be hurt.
But it doesn't always have to hurt either. And so it can take a few sessions and maybe trying out different therapists, shopping around to find the right match for you.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, that can be a little disappointing when you're spending $100 each time to try to find somebody new, but it is definitely worth your time, money, and effort to find a good match.
That's good. So I have a couple of questions stemming off of that.
Yeah.
So the first question is, what are we looking for in a strong massage therapist? Like, what are those, like, green flags? Like, okay, they're gonna be good for me, because I definitely get how it can be like trial and error sometimes if you don't know what to look for. Where I've been on so many people's tables and I've just been like, dang, I paid for that, you know? And so, like, that's the first question. What do we look for, whether it's in their bio, website? What questions should we be asking to really, like, weed out if they're going to be a good fit?
That's a really good question. And this isn't foolproof. Like, my private practice is new, and I have probably like 10 reviews on my Google business page, right? So it's not tons, but I would say that reviews are probably going to be helpful in that situation, and seeing if people are saying, hey, this really helped with my injury, or, you know, what are the clients commenting on about that person's massage. That's just one aspect. I don't like fully pay attention to reviews as like the end all be all of
an accompaniment,
but just something to look at. It also can tell you that, you know, they're a safe therapist. So
yes,
that's helpful. Again, like I said, there's probably a lot of new therapists out there that maybe don't have reviews out and are excellent therapists, and that's, you know, just something that they gotta work on.
Yeah.
But in general, you're always welcome to ask about the therapist's experience, about what they specialize in. You can look in their bios on their websites, or if they don't have a website, ask them directly, like, what modalities do you specialize in? I'm a dancer and I have an injury in my right knee, and I'm really looking for like rehabilitative help here. And start a conversation with your therapist. Most therapists would offer like a phone consultation, or, you know, an email consultation before you book, just to make sure that it's a good fit for you. And hopefully, you know, ethically, we should be honest. If, you know, hey, that's not really what I specialize in, I can refer you out to somebody else. Or this is what I specialize in, you might find this helpful, would you like to try it? And I think a conversation is always best to be had, because also you're going to be spending time on this person's table in, you know, like one-on-one touching situation for like an hour or so, and so it's worth it to make sure that you kind of vibe. That makes sense.
Just drop some gems on us. Okay, asking questions. Let's not be too nervous or afraid of offending someone to ask questions and get in depth, because again, like, this is our body. This is my body. I get one body. That's it. You know, you hear like YOLO, you only live once, but like, it's like, we only get one body. That's it. So we gotta make sure we take care of it, because once our body is done, like, our body is done. Once you blow out them knees is done.
I mean, we do have an amazing innate ability to heal, so there's still hope. But yeah, don't blow your knees out, please.
But like, I know so many like OG like poppers who their knees are done. Like they can't pop with their knees anymore because they've just so many years of like
high impact.
Yeah. So like really take care of your bodies and ask those questions. I know this is for me personally, to not be afraid to offend someone. Is it often like is it a thing that a massage therapist can get offended if we ask too many questions?
I mean,
or if they do, it's just like, that's a red flag.
That would be a red flag. Yeah, that'd be a red flag for me. No, ask questions. Absolutely. Yeah, if somebody gets offended, that sounds like a ego response that maybe you don't want to deal with. You know?
Yeah.
But I think it's our ethical responsibility to answer questions, make clients feel comfortable and safe in the experience, because if you are feeling uncertain, kind of unsafe because you're uncertain and because you didn't get your questions answered, you're also going to have your body in this sort of protective position that is like not open to receiving the work from the therapist.
Right.
And I don't think that's a great place to start a therapeutic relationship. So yeah, ask as many questions as you want to.
Okay. Ask as many questions as you want to. Mm-hmm. And what I'm getting is, don't settle.
Yeah, don't settle. I mean, you gotta try to know, but absolutely don't settle. And feel free to communicate in the session too. I think that's another thing that people have a little bit of shyness about or timidity about, is speaking up if something feels painful in a way that's not helpful.
Yes.
Sometimes there's like a hurt so good level of pain that is safe for your body and is helpful. And then there's another level of pain that is not helpful, right? That's just pain. And we don't need to go there. And as much as we have intuitive touch and experience with tissues and tissue responses, we're not feeling what you're feeling. And so it is very important that you communicate what's going on in your body throughout the session, so that we can collaborate in the session. It's 100% a collaborative experience, even though sometimes you might be knocked out. Like you knock out
all the time now,
like completely. But I'm still asking you questions. I'm still listening to your body.
Yep.
And asking for feedback. So feel free to give feedback, even unprompted, is what I'm saying.
Yes, and that's super key, because before I ever got a massage from Jessi, it was like I thought the goal was for it to be quiet, so I did not speak, and if it hurt, I just like hold my breath until they get out of that spot, and I'm like, sheesh. Like I just sit there and take it, or if the pressure's not enough, I just sit there and take it, just because I just didn't know what to do in that situation. And I feel like I know I cannot be the only person who feels like they're supposed to be quiet and just let the person do what the person's gonna do. So yeah, speak up and like you're saying, just communicate. Oh, that doesn't feel good. Maybe less pressure, more pressure.
More pressure, yeah.
Can you focus on this area a little bit more? Or this is where pain is generating from. Do you know what that can be? And I know it's pretty customary to have like an intake session, right? Where they like ask like, what's going on? Like that's like,
yeah, absolutely. That's
foundational. So especially during that moment, if you feel shy to talk while someone is touching your body like that, or while it's going on in the session and you would just rather be quiet, during the session, that intake portion at the very beginning before the massage starts is going to be super, super critical to getting your point across with what you're looking for, what you're wanting, needing, if you're having any pains or discomfort. So this way it gives your body worker the opportunity to actually do a mental assessment of all the things you just noticed, that you just stated, and then be like, okay, well, This might be generating from the psoas.
That's a little joke. We got a little joke. But yeah, a lot is generating from the psoas.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, for sure there'll be an intake session. We'll get like health history, injury history, your goals. And if you feel rushed in the intake session, you can slow it down. That's your time that you're paying for. It might mean less time on the table. But if you need to talk about the plan for the session to feel more comfortable, go for it. Like feel free. Mm-hmm.
Feel free. Mm-hmm. Feel free. I love it. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be back with you shortly. Do you struggle with confidence when dancing? Maybe you go out to the club with your friends and everybody's having a good time, but you're shaking from within. Or maybe you go to a family function. You're at the cookout, the barbecue, the celebrations, the wedding, and you just cannot get yourself to dance because you don't want to feel like you're making a fool of yourself. Or maybe you do this. Like, dance is what you do. Maybe it's a career for you. You just want to take your dance skills or your career to the next level. I have just the thing for you. Heart and Soul Online Dance Camp. It's going to cover everything from the beginners all the way to the masters and professionals, career development and longevity. It's going to cover everything from A to Z and then some. And it's coming for you next month in August. So I'll link everything down in the show notes, in the description. Hit that link down there, get on that email list, and we'll get you all the details. Let's get back to the show. How's it going? Welcome back to The Movement. So we just covered a good bit of ground on what questions to ask and what to look for in a massage therapist to make sure that we're getting the highest quality experience that we can get, because I think that's super important for the healing of our bodies, is that we feel good with that connection of the person who's working on our bodies. By the way, let us know in the comment section what positive healing experiences you've had with massage, and if you've not had a massage and you have other questions, put those also in the comment section and we'll be more than happy to go down there and answer those questions. We'll even have Jessi, who's obviously the professional here in that realm, come down there and ask some questions. And in addition, we'll make sure to have all of her links down below in the comments section, so that way you can go follow her and stay in touch. We just got Jessi on TikTok, so she's going to be posting a lot of like helpful gems and tips and tricks and all kinds of stuff. So super excited about that. And while we're here, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, y'all. The bigger this page gets, the easier it is to keep bringing you these dance gems and all the gems that surround dance and movement in general. So yeah, we covered ground on that, right?
We did.
But okay, I'm touring, I'm at conventions and teaching and so on and so forth, performing, choreographing. I don't have time to go get a massage. You know?
Yeah.
So what do I do when I either don't have the time or the money to have someone massage me?
Yeah. Okay. So, like we said earlier, massage bodywork is an amazing tool. It is necessary, but also there's so many things that we can do for ourselves for free and without any particularly fancy tools or anything.
Okay.
So I'm a big advocate of taking that body care, self-care into our own hands, and building that body awareness over time, because in my opinion, body awareness is a journey and not a destination. my own relationship with my own body has changed in so many different levels and ways over the years, and it continues to, and I'm really excited to see where that ends up being in like 5-10 years and more. But I know it's going to keep on morphing, and I think it does for everybody. There's not some, elusive like arrival period that you're suddenly aware. That's not how that works. So it is a practice, and I think that's really similar to dance and how dance is a practice. I mean, you have to be doing this. There's no destination. You don't just arrive.
Yeah, you never arrive. That's a good point.
And so this like to make that body awareness like a 3D experience. You're moving, and your dancers have this amazing body awareness already, but having this like care experience makes it sort of this whole picture. So I mean, there are a lot of tools. My housemates and friends joke with me that I have a recovery kink. It's not sexual, okay, but that I'm a really active person, and I just love like body exploration and recovery, and like finding the best way to recover in between intense workouts or movement dance sessions. And so I do have a lot of tools. Like it's a thing. I collect them. I'm fascinated by them. I want to see what's the like best tool to like dig into my psoas and release it on my own, or like I got a Theragun recently. This is a shameless plug, but we're not sponsored here, although open to that. But
what is your favorite, real quick, what is your favorite tool? Your favorite self-massage body care tool?
Okay, honestly, my favorite tool is a lacrosse ball. You can buy them for like $1 at the sports store, and you can take it with you. I think that's one of the reasons why it's my favorite tool, is that it's so accessible. I mean, you can keep it in your backpack. My little fanny pack it fits inside of.
Yo, she's a fanny pack extraordinaire. She loves her fanny pack.
I don't like bags. I want it to attach to my body. But anyway, it's like super portable, super lightweight. If you get bored, you can bounce it around and like have a little game. But in general, the idea with a lacrosse ball specifically is that it has a nice firmness, but a little bit of shock absorption too, whereas like tennis balls kind of collapse with pressure. Some massage balls with the spikes can be a little too intense. So I just love that happy medium of a lacrosse ball. And the idea with that is you put it where you're tight. I mean, to put it in really simple, plain terms, if you're experiencing tightness in a specific area, you can roll out your body with that lacrosse ball. So if you were traveling, so you're on tour or you're doing performances, away from home, and you don't have access to a body worker, you don't have access to larger tools, a lacrosse ball is a great thing to do. You can do a full body rollout routine in 10 minutes, or really localize it to an area that is bothering you, and it can be really effective. And in future videos or shows, we could do a little tutorial on how to do that.
Oh, that would be great.
But there's a lot of resources out there on the internet too. Like, feel free to look some up. The idea with a lot of these tools, actually all of these tools, is that it is myofascial release. So I know I've talked a lot about muscles in this conversation so far, but really a lot of dysfunction and pain is not coming straight from one muscle. It could be, but it's also coming from the fascia around it. And fascia is a connective tissue that, in simple terms, it's like a spidey suit. It's like a web of connective tissue that encompasses our entire body. It protects, it wraps around and protects our muscles. It also goes in through our muscles. It's interwoven with all the soft tissues in our body. It's kind of hard to tell when it begins and when it ends. But you can have a fascially restricted area in your body where maybe you have a tight muscle there too, and you kind of, work out the muscle a little bit, and it feels better for a little while, but that tight sheath around it is still going to be tight. And so without really affecting change in the fascia, you're probably going to have to keep on, going out that area without seeing a lot of results. So self-myofascial release is done with tools like foam rollers, lacrosse balls. You can use, machine guns. Massage.
Don't use machine guns.
Don't use machine guns. Do not. Massage guns. And some movement and like fascial stretches are available to us too. And I love these like movement practices because, again, it is all our body. It's nothing that we have to buy. It is like, goddess given, whatever, innate knowledge and innate like self-healing abilities to incorporate into our self-care practice. And so certainly there's some learning that you have to do, but I don't want anybody to feel overwhelmed. I think in our culture, there's so much information coming at us, like, you need to drink more water, which you do need to drink more water. But like, you need to eat this diet and do this exercise and, get a massage once a week. And some of those things might be exactly what you ought to be doing, and some of them might not work for you. And I think that our needs and our results are going to vary individually. So my favorite advice to give clients is to find a movement practice that feels fun to you. And obviously, here we're talking to dancers, so you've already got one, and that's beautiful. Find something else that complements that. I love strength training. I think strength training is very important for what I do, because what I do is very physically demanding. And, I'm using my body to work on your body, and I need a lot of force to do that. I need a lot of movement to do that. And typically most of my movements in work are with like forward facing, kind of pushing movements, and that really tends to work this like front part of my body quite a bit. So I find myself balancing out and strengthening a lot. I mean, through my core, through my like posterior chain, quite a bit. And that I really feel like since I started focusing on strength training, that I stopped injuring myself at work, and that was just huge for me. And so I recommend strength training if you're dancing hard and regularly. I think that's a very important tool. But also, maybe that's not for you, and there's other movement and fitness practices that are going to feel good for you and are going to be good for you. And I think it's important to find something that aligns with your needs, wants, and lifestyle, and not feel like getting into the gym is a duty. Because anything that feels like, somebody else's advice in your ear is probably not going to be good for you.
Right. Right. So again, it's like, it's not a one size fits all. It's like you have a plethora of options, and find those options that work best for you and what your body is telling you that you need in that moment. Sometimes we don't know what our body is telling us that we need. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it feels like, our headache is coming from our head, and sometimes it's coming from our hand, or sometimes it's coming from our sinuses or from wherever. And that's just a simple example to relate to this same situation. It's like sometimes our pains or our discomforts are coming from different areas, and maybe we need something else that will target a different area. So just, I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, like, try out these different options. Like, it's not gonna hurt you to get a lacrosse ball, and like, if you feel some tension, like, roll it out. My last question around this is, so there are obviously so many different bodywork tools that you can use on yourself, right?
Yeah.
What are they used for? For example, lacrosse ball, we know that it's hard. You can use it for like rolling out, gives a little bit more like a deeper pressure than like a tennis ball would, right?
Sure.
Or a lot deeper than a tennis ball. But okay, I have it's like an orange spiky massage ball. Not really sure what it's for. Is it like it's the same thing? It just...
Yeah. Oh, I hate that thing. But that's a personal preference. It's really intense. It's like really spiky and firm, and it's the same thing. It's like breaking up fascial adhesions, if that makes sense to you. So like we're talking about fascia, we're talking about myofascial release. That's like muscle and fascial release. And those those like spiky protrusions are actually getting in and manually moving our fascia and just affecting change in them. So I don't recommend that somebody would start with that. Let's say you graduate up to those more intense, like the intense firmness and the intense sensations, so that you have a little more familiarity with what you're doing. And when you're dealing with that sort of therapeutic pain threshold, you have a little more knowledge of like when to stop and when to go a little further. So don't start there. Start with a tennis ball.
Okay.
It is a little lighter. Some people who have really dense musculature, like people who are super swole, you're gonna need something with more firmness. So maybe starting with the tennis ball isn't right for you. Foam rollers have different firmnesses. And again, if you're new to something and maybe you feel like you have a low threshold for pressure, start with one of the less firm options. They're like smooth, they don't have bumps, or they're not like hard plastic or hard foam. Start there, and then as you get a little more comfortable with this as a practice, move into something with a little more firmness. Maybe like get a little weird with it, get some of the bumpy ones, and they can be really helpful and probably more effective down the line once you're comfortable with this. But this is something that I'm recommending as a practice, and not just as a something you just do occasionally when it hurts you.
Right.
Or do once and expect to be fixed. This is like an ongoing relationship with your body that you're going to have for the rest of your life.
Yo, did it get dark in here? Because I feel some shade just now. I feel some shade. I feel the shade right now.
I wasn't trying to direct that at you, but I mean...
The shoe fits. I might as well go and lace that thing on up. Well, yo, we're coming to a close here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Jessi, my love, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
If you could leave our audience, our movers, athletes, dancers, with one thing, what would that one thing be?
I think it would be to be open to shifting your mindset about caring for your body, from being, like we talked about earlier, being like a luxury that you only experience when you have the money or time, or when you're having an injury. Shift that to more of a constant investment in your body. And that's a financial investment in your business if you're a professional dancer, and an investment in yourself, no matter who you are, to give yourself longevity, pain-free movement, and just a deeper understanding of your body. But yeah, shifting that mindset into investing in yourself instead of taking time away from things that you want to be doing, dancing right away, only dancing, making it little investments over time is going to go a long way.
Constant investment in yourself. That's an investment in the longevity of your career if you dance professionally, or if it's not a career, you just enjoy dancing and moving and, you know, matriculating through life in a rhythmic pattern. So that's all we got for you today. Thank you so much for joining again. Like, share, subscribe. The content is only going to get better. We're going to be dropping some partner stretching tutorials, some solo bodywork tutorials. We're going to be dropping all types of content.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, stay posted. Let everybody know that we here, the movement. We out here all day, every day. And just really rapidly, outside of massage, whenever you're dancing, there are also things that you can do that are preventative for injury, as being very, very aware of your body. I preach this to students and clients all the time. Moving with intention and with purpose. Understanding where your body weight is. Your weight shift it's super, super important, that how your toes are positioned, and I'm going to be dropping some little short videos here and there to go over those techniques in a more physical way. But being aware and moving intentionally. I know sometimes, like, I'll be seeing people and they'll dance and they're loving dancing, and I'm loving that they're loving dancing, but they're not aware of their surroundings, and they're not aware of the technique, how their knees are bending, where their toes pointing in, so they're like, was that pigeon footed? Or is that slew foot? I don't know.
Yeah.
But being aware of your body is very, very key to preventing injury while you're dancing. Moving with intention, it not only prevents injury, but it gives your movement more purpose and you feel more in tune. Having that mind-body connection is a very, very, very major key to subconsciously preventing injury while putting on the best performances that you've ever put on. So that's it. I don't got nothing else to say. You got anything else to say?
Nothing.
That's it. We will catch you next week, next Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, EST. As always, it's been a pleasure. Melvin ACL, The Movement. We're out. Thank you so much for tuning in to The Movement with Melvin ACL. Why? Because it's not about the movement, it's about with the movement. Catch us every Wednesday right here, same time, maybe not the same place, because I like to keep it pushing. Catch you next time.